In chapter 1122, Joyboy finally made an appearance. However, his face remains shrouded in silhouette. What do you think his true face looks like? Many people in Japan speculate that he might be an ancestor of either Shanks or Luffy. While that possibility certainly exists, I have reached a different conclusion. So let's dive into my thoughts on Joyboy's true face. I believe that Joyboy is an ancestor of a certain character who has been focused on in Egghead. On this channel, the owner, a native Japanese speaker who also translates manga, provides analysis and theories about One Piece. There are many interesting insights in chapter 1122 that can be found when reading the Japanese version. There is information discussed here that isn't mentioned elsewhere, so be sure to watch until the end. Longtime viewers of this channel might remember that I speculated Joyboy might be from the Buccaneer tribe in a previous video. At first glance, in chapter 1122, Joyboy appears to be of average human size. However, a closer look at the scale reveals something interesting. In chapter 1067, Luffy was seen riding on Emeth Head. Luffy's height is 174 centimeters. By comparing their sizes, Emeth Face appears to be about 6 times the size of Luffy. This means Emeth Face is approximately 1,044 centimeters long. The exact scaling might be off due to the angle, but in another scene, his face appears to be approximately 6 times the height of Luffy. Now, let's look at the scene in chapter 1122 where Emeth and Joyboy are depicted together. Emeth Face is about 1.5 times the size of Joyboy. This means that Joyboy's height can be estimated to be around 696 centimeters. This is very close to the height of the Buccaneer, Kuma, who is 689 centimeters tall. Given the considerations of perspective and angle, it is challenging to determine an exact ratio. But at present, it appears that Joyboy is significantly larger than an average human and could indeed be a member of the Buccaneer tribe. Although Emu's height remains undisclosed, let's hypothesize it to be around 100 centimeters, based on the typical length of a sword being just under 1 meter. From Emu's perspective, the size of the straw hat stored in Mariégeois would fit a Buccaneer around 7 meters tall. Speaking of Buccaneers, this famous painting comes to mind, Buccaneer of the Caribbean by Howard Pyle. The figure in this artwork bears a striking resemblance to the silhouette of Joyboy revealed in chapter 1122. This leads me to believe that the Caribbean Buccaneer could be the inspiration for Joyboy's character. Furthermore, it suggests that Joyboy might be an ancestor of Kuma from the Buccaneer tribe. Let's take a look at Kuma's initial design sketches. They give off a similar vibe to the Buccaneer painting. I suspect that Kuma's initial facial design will be used for Joyboy. Interestingly, this version of Kuma has a helm similar to the one on Shiki's head. If there were a matching helm on the left side, he would truly embody the essence of the sun god. In the flashback, Joyboy tells Emeth, "I've tied Haki and sealed it within your body." This means that Haki can be condensed by tying it. In the original Japanese version, the word Musubu, meaning to tie or bind, is emphasized. This suggests that the knot holds significant power. The power of knots is illustrated when Haradas uses a wind-generating rope knot to cheer up Nami in Weatheria. This indicates that knots can store immense energy. Knots have been present since the beginning of One Piece. The logo itself features a knot. Untying this knot might unleash wind, making the logo spin like a windmill, possibly symbolizing D brings storms. Additionally, the Japanese word that shares the same pronunciation as the O in the logo means king. Joyboy aspired to be a king, potentially wanting to stir the world into a storm. Hence, Luffy, symbolized by an anchor, is destined to untie this knot and bring about a storm. Even Luffy's birthplace, Fuchsia Village, hints at this destiny. Here's an interesting aspect of Japanese culture related to knots, known as tamamusubi. This term typically refers to tying a cord or string into a circular shape. The pronunciation remains the same, tamamusubi, but changing the kanji gives it a different meaning. In this context, tamamusubi can signify tying a soul to the physical world. In ancient Japanese traditions, there were rituals where a part of one's clothing or a cord was tied into a circle to prevent a soul from leaving the body. When Kuma, who seemed unconscious, arrived at Egghead, Vegapunk remarked, "Is it true then? The Buccaneer tribe's special trait isn't their physical strength. They once..." This suggests that Kuma's arrival was linked to the Buccaneer's inherent abilities. Vegapunk also stated while examining Kuma, "The soul exists. That much is certain." This implies that Kuma, even after losing his consciousness, can still move as if guided by a will, possibly because the Buccaneers can retain their soul within their bodies even after death. Interestingly, Kuma has two distinctive cowlicks, which resemble knots. This was confirmed as bedhead by Oda-sensei in the SBS. These might be symbolic, keeping his soul anchored to his body, enabling him to use his powers and act to protect Bonnie. If these knots were untied, his soul might depart from his body. Similarly, Joyboy could have used the Buccaneer's ability to bind his haki to the world, tying it and preserving it. If he really is from the Buccaneer tribe, his soul might still be preserved somewhere. For example, here. Incidentally, the term Musubu was also used by Bartolomeo. He said, "If you link your fingers, anyone can create a barrier. Even kids know that." At first glance, it might seem like a common sense specific to Bartolomeo, but this mysterious practice appears in various contexts. The previous user of the Bari Bari no Mi, Semimaru, also created barriers using this gesture. Moreover, when Law visited the hospital with Corazon, the doctor, upon learning about Law's amber lead, performed this same gesture to create a barrier. It's possible that during the era when the ancient kingdom thrived, the technique of linking fingers to automatically generate a barrier was widely known. In the flower room at Marie-Joie, Imu experienced a PTSD episode triggered by recognizing the Conqueror's haki unleashed by Emeth. This strongly suggests that Imu has been alive for 800 years. During this moment, Imu's scream was notable. Interestingly, this particular scream is typically associated with males. For females, a different term is generally used. There is a prevalent theory that Imu might be female, but Ivankov revealed that Imu's title included the character Sei, which is used for male celestial dragons. Female celestial dragons, on the other hand, are given the title Gu. In fact, the title Gu was also used for female members of the Japanese imperial family. Given this information, along with the masculine scream, it seems increasingly likely that Nerona Imu is male. In the next video, I plan to talk about Imu's monster form. See you then.